Room 237, back with another review. And this is another first time watch from Hulu, but I wouldn't quite say this is as random as some of the other ones because this is one that's actually been on my radar for quite a while, probably since March, which I think this is when this premiered on Hulu. And I was just looking for the right time to watch it. Just watched it today, and I'd say it was worth the wait. A wait I didn't have to do, but it's very well made, and I really enjoyed it. I guess technically it's more of like a comedic thriller with a little bit of satire in it, as opposed to a straightforward horror film, or even a horror with satire and comedy in it. But it came, like I said, March this year, and it's 2022's Fresh. Now, this is another directorial debut by a female director. And I've seen a number of films in the last couple years that were first time female directors with their debut film. Raw, Saint Maud. Uh, I know there was a couple other ones that I was really blown away by. I'd probably say those two were better than this one, but that's not to take anything away from this one. It was directed by Mimi Cave, and she did a flawless job with the directing. It looks great, cinematography looks great, great moves and tricks with the camera, great pacing and characters. It was written by Lauren Kahn, who I guess she was going for. She said she wanted to make a movie that was for horror fans, but also not. And produced by Kevin Messick and Adam McKay, who Adam McKay is not only known for directing comedies like Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, Anchorman, but very, very well made Oscar films like The Big Short, which I really enjoyed. I think there was one since then that he was nominated for as well, but I can't remember. But this was put out through his Hyper Object Industries. Stars Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan, which Sebastian Stan is known as Bucky in the MCU. What was that other thing? He's some show. Oh God, what's that show I heard that he was in? Oh, he plays Tommy Lee in that Pam and Tommy show on Hulu as well. He also does a great job in this as sort of your likable, charming kind of antagonist. Only he's done it in a very different way, And I don't want to give too much away because I went into this pretty blind, except for knowing these two strangers meet. They start being a couple, and then she finds out he's in the cannibalism black market. So I don't want to give too much of it away. But for those thinking that you might get some sort of serial killer movie where he's a cannibal, it's not quite like that at all. Music was done by Alex Summers, and the music was also very, very well done. I think people will like the soundtrack because there's a lot of 80s pop hits in it, used rather humorously. But the actual score was very well done, and I really liked it. But other members of the cast, there's, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Jonica T. Gibbs, Charlotte LeBon, Deo Okeniyi, hopefully I pronounced that right. And Jones and Stan both do an excellent job. They have great chemistry together. You really buy him as a villain and her just as this victim in more ways than one. Because, just to quickly summarize the story without spoilers, Jones plays this girl named Noah who hasn't really dated, and she's taken a stab at online dating. It's not going very well. Just nothing but bad dates and dick pics on her app. And then one night at the grocery store, she meets this guy named Steve. And they seem to kind of flirt and joke around a little bit. He gets her number. She's good friends with this girl named Molly, played by Gibbs, who she's kind of the. They really make it a point that she's the lesbian best friend. Which, one thing I can say about the satire or some of the overt or undertones in this film is that it does. I'm sure to some people it will feel like there's some sort of feminist agenda being pushed. But like the movie Raw, I will say a lot of the women's point of view aspects put into this movie, since it's directed by a woman, it doesn't come across as heavy-handed. It feels like it's done very well. You know, you get a movie like Black Christmas 2019 or Ghostbusters 2016, that's heavy-handed to the point where it's not even entertaining or enjoyable. Here, though, it is subtle enough to the point where you like, I didn't even really notice it up until the end, but you know, it's not heavy, which I appreciate. And if a sort of feminist point of view was the goal, just get female directors to make these films because they know how to make them. It's a lot more entertaining, far more well written because this was also written by a woman. Makes more sense. But her best friend Molly tries saying, "Is that really a good idea? I wouldn't really do that." But they go out for drinks, then they start dating, and this guy just seems perfect for her. You know, charming, handsome, supportive of her. They get along great, and again, the two actors have great chemistry together. But then they plan a weekend at his place out in the country. Her drink is drugged, and she wakes up chained to a wall. And she finds out he's part of the human meat uh, black market or human meat trafficking world. And it's pretty much, how can she survive? What can she use to her advantage? How can she play on his kindness? How can she use the fact that he does like her, or like her more than some of the other victims? Like, how can she use that to survive? All the while, her friend Molly is noticing all the signs that something's wrong, and she's trying to find her. That's basically the movie. And I mean, we do get some scenes of Steve, you know, he's a doctor, so it's a bit more surgical. It doesn't really show, it's not a gory movie by any means, but, you know, it does kind of show him doing some surgery, then packaging the meat, shipping it off to people. But it also has elements of, you know, other than just the horrors of online dating, maybe some of the stuff women had to go through or fear of. But also it taps into things like privilege, greed, um, desire, stuff like that in a very interesting way. And again, it's very well acted, well filmed, well shot, and that's about as much as I can get into without going into spoilers, because this is the best and most effective as a blind watch. So I'm probably going to leave this review at that, but I do recommend it. It's on Hulu. There are parts that are very funny. This is a likable villain. I mean, what he's doing is, you know, horrific, but he's so charming in a way that you can't help but like him. And you do feel bad for Noah, and you do root for her to survive. Also, music, very well done. For me, the 80s pop songs were okay and humorous, but I really liked the score. The characters of Molly and her friend, the bartender, I thought they were very funny. And I love the setting. This is a very cool looking, you know, rich guy house out in the country. Has all the good twists and turns and well written parts earlier in the film that pay off later. And it is a little lengthy. It's just shy of 2 hours. It's like 14 minutes. So it is a bit lengthy, but it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. But highly recommend it, and now getting into spoilers. So he has Noah, you know, chained up, not in a like a hostel room. You know, it's a very nice looking room. But, you know, she attacks him one time, tries to break free. So as punishment, he removes her ass cheeks, and sends that away. She does hear through the vent that there's all these rooms next to each other of other victims that have been systematically had bits of meat removed. You know, he does say, "I'm not going to kill you. I have to make you healthy, relaxed, and comfortable because that preserves the meat." And so she does kind of try to build a friendship with this girl. I think her name's Penny, in the next room. Then there's like a third girl who we hear is like lost her mind. Uh, Molly slowly starts to figure out that, you know, the texts she's getting from Noah's phone aren't making sense. Realizes that, you know, like the picture of the waterfall she's been sent is from Google. Goes to her bartender, you know, the bartender who served them that night. I guess they used to have like a relationship. Tries to get information from him, and then she tracks down Steve's wife, who, I mean, we get that scene where she's going to be like, your husband's seeing someone else, and I think he's the reason why my friend is missing. Excuse me. But then Steve comes home, find out his name is actually Brandon, and that's when we find out his wife is in on it as well. And not only that, but his wife is also missing a leg. So we find out she was also a victim at one point. And this movie did keep me guessing, because there is a part where Noah's reading a magazine, and there's a note in it that says, if you're reading this, that means he likes you. Use that. Use that to escape, get out, just keep him liking you. And then signed her name, Sammy. And I was thinking, is that his wife? Like, did he like his wife so much that, you know, he eventually took her in? Because we also find out through all the other girls in the other rooms that Noah was the only one that he had sex with. But then Noah asks him, like, what does human meat taste like? So he answers it, but then he gets kind of curious, like, why do you want to know? She's like, oh, I was just curious. So then he calls her bluff, asking her for dinner, or cooks for her human meat. She tries it, plays off that she likes it, and then he likes that even more, thinking, I think I found someone who accepts me for me, or who understands me, I guess. And so it seems like, oh, maybe it starts giving her a little bit more freedom. Then I think it's implied that he feeds Molly's breast to her, but it doesn't ever come to light that that's what he did. But the reason why she asked him what it tastes like was because after this romantic evening, and it seems like they're really building this trust, they start dancing in the living room. She leads him into the bedroom and says, oh wait, I gotta go to the bathroom. Comes back, and he's already been getting more and more emotionally invested, and that's by her design. She goes to perform oral sex on him, and she either bites it completely off or just severely bites it. I think she bit it off, and then just smears toothpaste in his eyes. She's able to, you know, lock the door up, get the keys, free the other girls, you know, Molly and Penny, which Penny has one leg now. Then there's a chase through the woods, which also, almost each guy in this movie, like the opening scene of her first date, and now this is just going on these tirades of like, all you women are bitches, and I'll kill you all. But they're able to fight back even. And there's a few fight scenes where Steve/Brandon takes on all three of these girls. But finally, they are able to kill him. But then there's like the final twist, which is, it seems that the wife is not only in on it, but might actually be like the CEO or the president of the whole thing. But they were able to get away. Actually, they kill her. because she starts to attack Noah, and then they all gang up on, or they're able to gang up on her and kill her as well. And there was a mid-credit scene where it showed a number of the clients who are all rich guys of various types. You know, there's like a very rich Asian guy, a very rich business-looking guy, an old BDSM-looking guy eating what looks like out of a dog bowl. And it seems that they're all eating out of this plate that has like a Baphomet symbol on it, which could indicate it's part of a satanic thing. It's not just black magic, not just like a cannibal black market, but some sort of satanic reason as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Very well filmed. It didn't just seem like people making stupid choices or convenience for how characters can figure out what's going on. You know, what tips Molly off is how whenever they get off the phone with each other, one says, "I love you," the other one says, "I love you more." But when Molly gets a text saying, "Oh, I'm shutting my phone off for a while, you know, I just need to get away for a bit," she says, "Oh, okay, love you." And then she gets back like just a heart. So that's when she realizes something's not right. She always says, "I love you more." Then that's what sends off her investigation. But yeah, I love the country house setting. All the performances are well done. I like the story. I thought the satire worked, the comedy and the satire, or a metaphor, however you want to look at it. It didn't feel as heavy, again, as say Black Christmas or Ghostbusters. It felt more like raw. It really pertained to the story. It didn't get full of itself, no pun intended. And it was this interesting look at not just the horrors of online dating, but also, you know, just, again, privilege, greed, desire as well. And it didn't feel like a 2-hour runtime. It seemed to go by fairly quick, and yeah, I was impressed by it. Trying to make these shorter than my usual videos, so hope it's working. But yeah, that is 2022's Fresh, and thank you for watching.